Hey guys, it's Stellar and welcome back to the channel. So this is the first episode for a new park build that I'm working on called Lake Camden. And so basically Lake Camden is a New England inspired theme park, very semi-low budget. I really don't have a lot of rules for myself with this park. This is more me trying to figure out like what I can do with Planet Coaster 2, mostly with like the scaling and things like that. Since we didn't have that in Planet Coaster 1, I'm just trying to figure out what all was possible. So this kind of is like a hodgepodge of different ideas. But in general, well, that's the consensus here is that it is a New England inspired park, very semi low budget, and with a couple of different like themed areas and things like that. So I don't anticipate it's going to take a ton of time to build it out, but I am excited to get started on it. So this is the first Main Street building here. I've actually already built most of the entrance, like ticketing building. I built a bridge that goes over a river, which I don't show in this video, but so you come through the main gates and then you go over a bridge and then you're going to be on the main street. And I haven't decided yet whether or not I want to make that an actual main street or if I want this to be more of like a town square. So I'm still trying to figure that out. And you can see in the background there, I placed a Ferris wheel down. That Ferris wheel is actually going to stay where it is. I might move it back or forward a little bit depending on how large we make this town square or the main street. But that's kind of what I want to be the icon of the park. Like I said, more of a low budget park. So this Ferris wheel's a lot bigger than everything else around it. So it's going to be the kind of the weenie, if you will, for the park. Right here, what I'm trying to do is I'm making an ice cream store as you come into the park. On the it's gonna be on the left-hand side as you're walking in, and I modeled this after an actual ice cream store that I found on Google Maps. It's in Alexandria, Virginia. So it's more of like an older style building, very much a Main Street style build. And what I tried to do with that ice cream sign is I'm trying to give it more of like a I don't know, like a 3D texture with the white in the back and then the pink in the front. It took me a while to figure that out. So what I had to do was I tried to do it all in the building at first, and that didn't really work. So then what I did was I put all of the letters out on the ground, and then I had to drag them in one by one. It was actually a time-consuming process. Now that I know how to do it, it probably wouldn't be as bad, but that was kind of the goal with that. Now what we're doing is we're actually working on the upstairs. It's a two-story building, and I didn't do a ton of forced perspective. I kind of kept it very much in line with how the guests would look. Because I feel like in these low-budget parks, I don't know if they're very if that's really their goal is to work on forced perspective. I think that what they're doing is just kind of building it out, making it look nice, and calling it a day. So I don't know if they really focus on the whole forced perspective thing like you would see at Disney World or something like that. So that's kind of what I was doing here. And I use these little statue guests, which I think everyone does, for like more of a focal point or reference. So when I was in Google Street View, what I did was I saw that there was a person next to the window, and that person was the exact same size as the downstairs window in the ice cream shop. It's an actual ice cream shop in real life as well, and I thought it fit for what we were trying to do here on the main street. So anyway, there was one person that went like halfway up the glass on the bottom floor, if that makes sense. And then so I was like, oh, two people could fit within that pane. And I was like, okay, well, the upstairs windows were about the same size as the downstairs window, so that's kind of how I figured it out. So I stacked two on top of each other, so that's why I did that. Here I'm putting some drapes behind the windows. Originally, I was going to experiment with just using actual Planet Coaster windows here, but I feel like it just looks a lot better when you build them out like this, and you actually have like the glass panes in there, and the like I use the wood pieces to make the frame of the window. I just think it looks a lot more realistic. And I've been putting these drapes behind the windows and some lights in there, and the lighting in this game is really good. So when I put those lights in there, it bounces off in a more realistic fashion. So it looks like there's an actual like a light or a light on is on in the window or something like that. So it was really fun to try experiment with that a little bit. I do anticipate creating actually, here's where I'm working on the ice cream sign a little bit more in depth, but. I do anticipate building this interior out fully, but in this episode, which is running me about 10 minutes long, I just wanted to focus on actually doing the build itself, and then in a later video, we'll do the actual interior. I probably will work on finishing out this building. So in real life, this building there's an ice cream store on this side, and then there is a bar slash pub on the right hand side. So it's an entirely separate building, but they're connected. So you'll see what that looks like in a future episode. I'm going to build that one out as well, but. I don't know what I'm going to do with that just yet. Maybe make it a gift shop. Haven't figured that part out currently, but we'll keep playing around there. So anyway, I was just trying to figure out what the upstairs should look like and try to get some of these, like experiment with some of these pieces, because I'm not as used to these pieces as I was with Planet Coaster. And like I said, it's been a couple of years since I have played Planet Coaster like really in depth. I knew all the pieces, knew where everything was, and getting into this game, it took me a second. So I'm just experimenting a little bit, figuring out where everything is and what works well together. So I feel like as I go on, it's going to get a lot easier, and I hopefully will get better at building and not take as much time. But I will say that one thing about me is that I'm very much a perfectionist. So when it comes to stuff like this, I sometimes get sucked into the details a little bit too much, and it takes me a little bit longer than what it probably should to complete stuff like this. But anyway, I think the hardest part of this build was actually the top. So the upper part of the building has like a lot of detail and ornate detail in general that was really hard to replicate. But I mean, with Planet Coaster, you can pretty much do anything that you want to. So it just takes a little bit of like imagination, I feel like, to figure that out and get it right. So this is where I was working on that a little bit. There's like these really interesting arches up there, and so I took this font piece and created those arches, and then I just put some like wall pieces inside it, like the plaster, and some wood columns across the top there that you can see that's happening right now. And then we will build out the upper part, and the upper part actually has like the sign of the building in real life. So I wanted to replicate that. I wasn't going to call it like the same thing that obviously is in real life. We just put the word Lake Camden up there. You'll see it here in a second. Here I'm just detailing a little bit more of the, giving some more of that ornate detail that you can see on the building. And then the goal is to, we'll finish out the main street in the first couple of episodes, and then we're going to work on the first themed area, which is going to be more of like a family-focused area called Festival Farms. I already have that part like kind of mapped out in my head. And then what I'm going to do at the end of the main street here is actually have a train station. So I do want a train going around the park. And you can see in the background there's another building that I've been working on, which I'll showcase later on. It's not necessarily part of the main street. It's going to be probably on the way to Festival Farms, but I haven't, like I said, I'm just kind of doing this as I go and figuring it out and just trying to play around with it. So this isn't really like a fully planned, fleshed out park or anything. I'm just playing around, trying to figure out what I want to do. But anyway, yeah, back to Festival Farms. So we're going to have a train that goes around the park. There's going to be the entrance to Festival Farms will actually have a like an underpass under the train. And so I think that'll look really cool. So we'll do that when we get to it. Here I'm just experimenting with some of the light features, and it's really interesting how you can change like just the color a little bit and dim the lights, and I thought it looked really nice, so I did that here. And so here we're actually adding a little bit more detail to the top of the building itself. Like I said, I do plan on building out the full interior. I think I want to do that for all of these buildings in this park. I think I want to do mostly full interiors. I know that's probably going to tank my frame rate in the end, but I don't anticipate this being a huge park or anything. So I think that's totally fine. So I want to play around with some more of the interiors, and honestly, I really hope at some point in the development cycle of Planet Coaster 2, we get some sort of like interior detailing like kit, or I mean a DLC or something like that. I know that Planet Zoo, I think they got a free update for like gift shops and things like that, so it'd be really nice to see that in Planet Coaster 2 as well. Honestly, I would pay for it if it was a DLC as well. I think we're getting to the point now where the game is, especially with Update 3 having just come out, I think we're getting to the point now where it's almost like I'm ready for a paid DLC. Like, I love these free updates, and I think they're great. Like, keep them coming. But if you want to throw a free update or a paid DLC in the mix this summer or something, I honestly would buy it. I feel like we need more pieces. And when I was building this building here, I did not have the Western theme yet. This was built like last week, and I'm just now recording the video itself, or editing the video. So I'm interested to see how much different and how much easier it's going to be having some of those extra wood pieces from the Western theme to detail things like this. So anyway, this is the final building for, or the final exterior of this building. And then in the next episode, I plan on doing the other side of this building, and then we'll work on the interior work and the overall town square. So I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.